All right, here we are. Episode
Alrighty.
2, official episode 2 of
Yes,
the
sir.
Shipmate Sports podcast. And we were on a little hiatus there, right? We
Yeah, Mike, I spent some time up there in Maine. Took the last week off. We
Yeah.
couldn't get the Wi-Fi signal going right, so we had to take a little time off.
Joey is he's going north for the summer. Like
That's
a
it. That's it,
smart
buddy.
person would. And you got a few things we want to talk about today. We appreciate
Yeah,
you
buddy.
guys
It's been
watching.
it's been an interesting week. Yeah, like Mikey was saying, we definitely appreciate everybody that's been watching. We have a few subscribers. We'd love to keep you guys rolling in. We'd love to get some more comments and stuff that you'd like to hear from you. It's been about a week and a half, 2 weeks or so since we were last on. I mean, there's a quite a bit that's been going on. A lot going on with the college football realignment there. This past week, I thought was a really good week for baseball. It needed it with the MLB trade deadline. It was a really, really, really interesting trade deadline week. Mikey, what's better than football training camp starting up, baby? Right? I mean, we got from now until February. Yeah, there you go. Detroit Lions versus everybody. Got my Patriots shirts hanging proud. We got until February before there's no football, buddy. So we got a lot of football going forward. Obviously, the Olympics are in full swing. I enjoy watching the Olympics. The situation that's been going on it's the most popular thing that's been talked about is what's going on with Simone Biles and the gymnastics. Mikey, I know that was near to you, so I know you wanted to have some words on that. So why don't you take the ball with what's going on with that?
Yeah, so for me, with what happened with Simone Biles, kind of, really hit home because as somebody, we're veterans, we're in the Navy,
Yeah.
we did our time, and I think that, in regards to military experience and mental health, that is I would say it's a very near and dear subject to my heart. As somebody who struggled with mental health during their time in the military, as I know I'm not the only one.
Yep.
And so when I see somebody like Simone Biles having to remove themselves from competition, Naomi Osaka did the same thing. Those are two recent cases of it. She got some backlash for that. Somebody who went, I forget it was, I want to say it was like a politician from like Texas.
Yeah.
Went ahead and called her like a national disgrace. And I think that's way over the top. I think that, he's probably regretting saying that. Other people have called her a quitter. I don't think she's a quitter because there's no history of quitting. So there's that. I think that when you're under so much stress and there's this physical, she was shaking, like visibly shaking between events. Like she went out, tried to do an event, and then she said she was, physically shaking after that. And when these physical manifestations, present themselves because of, whether it be stress, anxiety, depression, whatever it is, I think she did the right thing as the leader as the, the face of USA Gymnastics and removing herself. I think that was the proper thing to do. And I hope, anybody that acknowledges they have that type of problem and reaches out for help, I think that is a step in the right direction. I think that's a big thing because I think for a long time, having anxiety or depression and admitting it, was a sign of like weakness, per se. You think about how the people that raised us, we're in our 30s, you think about the parents that raised us, and how they were raised. There was no time for crying. There was no emotions. You know what I mean? There was none of that. You know what I mean? Like, I know my dad, and I hear about like how he was raised. There was no, there's no emotions. You have emotions, just emotions not allowed. You know what I mean? And so now we're kind of getting around to this, this state where it's like, yeah, you got to take care of, your body and your mind. So I think just for me personally, I think she did the right thing. I'm not going to call her a quitter or anything like that. I think she's, done enough, in her past performances to generate enough notoriety and everything like that. And she's been quite successful.
Yeah. She's done a lot for the sport, I believe.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a movement called the Biles. I mean,
yeah.
And that doesn't just happen. So, I mean, I think those people were out of line, to say that about her. I almost think it's kind of like they take that contradictory stance, just to get views and to get clicks and stuff like that, and get the feedback on Twitter and stuff it's like an attention seeking thing. They say something crazy and it's like, completely unempathetic. And so people come back to them on Twitter or whatever social media platform and stuff like that. At any rate, I just wanted to kind of get that out there. Like, if you're under a lot of stress and you're having anxiety and you're depressed and you reach out for help, totally do that. I think taking care of your mind is just as important as taking care of your body, especially when you're an athlete. So I think she did the right thing. Now, I'm not happy she had to remove herself. You know what I mean? I think with her, the team is a whole lot better. But I mean, if that's what she needs, if that's what she has to do, go ahead and do it, man. Get your mind right. However much time you need, I totally empathize with that. And I'm kind of proud of her for acknowledging that on the stage that she did. And moving forward, I kind of wanted to speak my piece on that.
Yeah, no. I think it was definitely something that should be hit on. I knew that it was something that was important to you, and I felt like you needed to get it out there. So yeah, no, I completely hear you.
And I mean, relating that, like, I mean, there are a lot of veterans who suffer mentally and emotionally, from what they went through, no matter what branch of service you're in. And so I think that's a thing that we can specifically, acknowledge or empathize with. We see somebody, struggling mentally. It's like, dude, I get that. And so I get that. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think she's a quitter. I don't think she's a national disgrace. I don't think anything like that. How many gold medals do you got to win? I mean, so
yeah, right.
Yeah, I think she's done great. So yeah, man, all support and, get your head right. And I don't know, cause she's 24 now. I don't know if she's going to be able to compete in the next Olympics. I think
I don't know if there's an age thing. I know that gymnastics, and I don't know, it's like a young woman's game. It's I think there is no age limit, but I feel like from what I've heard, like you get to an age where you can't compete with like the younger generation. So I would say from what I know about it that this is probably her last Olympics, but who knows? I mean, she is very talented. We very well could be there again in 4 years. Who knows?
Yeah. So yeah, man. That's kind of my take on it, my 2 cents. And there's a lot of other stuff we want to get to, but I felt like I just kind of wanted to lead with that because that's pretty near and dear to my heart. So yeah.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I just a little bit more. I mean, the Olympics, I thought from what I've watched, the Olympic has been pretty fun. I mean, I always enjoy watching a lot of the Olympic events. I was watching the one where they shoot the rifles. I don't even know what it's called.
It's like marksmanship or
shooting.
Yeah,
the stuff that you don't see on TV a lot. I've been enjoying watching that. It's been fun. It really has been, and I'm happy that they were able to do it. Hopefully, I believe the Winter Olympics will be next year. Hopefully, by then they'll have crowds again, because I'm a firm believer of the fans make the atmosphere better and make it for better viewing too. And watching the Olympics with nobody in the stands was kind of like watching football last year without people in the stands. It just missed that element, and I'm sure that the athletes are feeling that also. They work so hard to get on that stage. They want the fans in the stands also. And so hopefully we'll get there at some point where everything will be back to completely normal, and the Olympics will have fans again.
I mean, I don't know if the Bucks win Game 6 if it's on the road. You know what I mean? Like I think that like we talked about, energy is a real thing, and
Oh, sure.
I think the athletes definitely feed off that.
And they deserve their time in the sun. They've worked 4 years to get to where they are. They want that moment. The ones that win the gold medal, they want to be on the podium, they want to be cheered, and they've earned it. Switching gears a little bit, someplace where we really hope that there'll be fans next year is college football. And from everything that we're hearing, it sounds like there will be fans in the stands. Now, to that point, the Big 12, what the heck is going on with them possibly losing Texas and Oklahoma?
That conference is possibly going away. That's what's happening. I mean, you're basically the two of the biggest schools in the nation.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, Texas, Oklahoma, USC, Notre Dame, Miami, Alabama. These are the biggest schools, Ohio State. Without these schools, what is college? I mean, I guess other schools would take up the mantle, but I mean, the Big 12 is just who do you invite? You don't replace these schools. You don't replace Texas and Oklahoma.
I mean, it definitely sounds like the Big 12 is going by the wayside almost. I've been saying it for a while. It just seems like they eventually just need to just do a complete realignment, make, I don't know what the number is, but eight solid divisions. I don't know, but it's just something that is better than what they have now and having everybody move around. You put Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC, and I mean, the power is completely there. I mean, the ACC has Clemson and Florida State, Virginia Tech, and then they hang around. But you're talking about the SEC now having, like I said, Texas and Oklahoma to go with Alabama, Florida, LSU,
Georgia, Auburn,
A&M, Auburn, Georgia. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean,
it's almost like you're gonna have SEC football and then you're gonna have college football.
Yeah.
And it's just but SEC football is supposed to be college football. It's going to be like its own league.
It really is. And the problem with it is you're loading up the SEC to the point that, I mean, if only one team can make the college football playoff, there might be 4 or 5 teams that are good enough to make it in that one conference alone.
So what this is going to lead? I mean, I think the date is 2025 when this realignment happens, right?
That's when they're talking that Texas and OU would make the switch?
Yeah. So it's not happening like this season. They got a few years to figure everything out, which is fine. And
see, I hadn't heard that. I thought it was imminent and
I mean, it is imminent. It's just as far as I've seen, it's 2025 is like the year it all
July.
It all
all right, I've seen it right here. July of 2025.
Yeah. So I think what this is about is the playoff and everybody wanting to, get into the playoff, right? So it's playoff.
Absolutely.
The name, image, and likeness, the NIL deals that players are now able to make money off their name and everything like that. Mm-hmm. And recruiting. Okay, so
big time.
You have players, you have football players in high school right now, people who are, kids who are seniors, as it stands right now, before this was announced, where do you get the most exposure, right? Are you going to go to Texas? The SEC. Exactly.
But I mean, I can't imagine a program like Texas and Oklahoma having any issues with recruiting. I mean, Texas itself has one of the best high school feeder programs in the country. And I mean, obviously Texas has a stronghold there. So I don't see why they need to start going into SEC territory for players. I mean, they've got their own batch, like their own homegrown batch. Oklahoma, same thing.
Well, I mean, in Texas, right? You got A&M, you got Baylor,
Mm-hmm.
right? Even like a college like SMU. Like, not everybody who goes to Texas, if you're coming out of high
TCU.
school, TCU, there's multiple, and I know we're missing a couple,
Oh yeah.
but just, I mean, do you want to start at A&M? Do you want to start at SMU or TCU, or do you want to sit behind somebody for 2-3 years there at Texas?
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, in Alabama, now here, this is all the credit in the world to Nick Saban, because you don't just get these recruits. You have to go and recruit and everything. And he's competing against other teams in the SEC. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it just kind of comes down to money, really.
Mm.
I mean, money's really the big motivator for a lot of these things. But you're not gonna move UCF into the Big 12. You're not gonna move Cincinnati in there, or BYU, or Boise State, to make up for Texas and Oklahoma. I mean, I'm a UCF guy.
No,
I
you're
went to
not.
UCF, got my degree, sitting right here. But let's be honest, it's not Texas, man.
Well, I mean, it's the stuff that I'm hearing now is just craziness, and that the Big Ten is going to be going into Florida to try to get some schools, and it doesn't make any sense, like the alignment, and they're talking that the Big Ten would want Central Florida and UCF, and why would they want those Florida teams? In it's a complete waste of what the Big Ten is. The Big Ten is cold weather, and you're trying to bring in Florida teams. I don't know. It's just
And
they
now you're
need to
talking
do a
about
complete
travel
realignment.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, what would realignment look like? Because these two schools, Texas and Oklahoma, are going to move into the SEC. So now it's like you have the SEC is supposed to be the Southeastern Conference now,
Yeah.
plus the Midwest. So,
Mhm.
like, what do you? I don't know if I call Texas the Midwest. I mean, it's
But
geographically.
again, I mean, look at the big. I go back to the Big Ten. Obviously, Michigan football is my thing. I mean, Michigan brings in Maryland and Rutgers from New Jersey, and like it's supposed to be mid right there in the center, the Great North, and now you're bringing in teams from the East Coast, and there's just no rhyme or reason now to where anybody is. You've already got A&M in the SEC.
Yeah.
It's just they're going all over the map, and it's just, there's no rhyme or reason to any of it, and that's why I'm just saying. I mean, eventually they just need to do a complete realignment, and I think 8 division winners. That's your playoffs right there. There's no people sitting in a room deciding who the top people are. No, that's your 8. You win your division, you get in. And then you can figure out a way to still have some bowl games with the second, third, fourth place finishers, whatever. And I'd love to see it come to something like that. I mean, there's no talk of anything like that in the future, but with their talking about expanding the playoffs, I mean, it doesn't seem like putting everybody in the SEC is going to help anything, because you're still going to have some teams that deserve to be there not be there because they're just in a really, really hard conference.
Yeah, I think that it's going to get to this point, because this is happening in 2025, right? And even right now, I like the idea of just making more divisions, because that grants more opportunity for schools. Now, I granted, if one of these schools like UCF goes undefeated again, or Cincinnati, or one of these like smaller programs gets in, and you got to go up against Oklahoma or somebody, or USC, it's over before it starts. Now, can an underdog pull off an upset? Yeah. Are they going to win the national championship? Probably not.
No.
But that's okay. If you go undefeated, regardless of division or where you are, you should have the opportunity to compete for a title. Mm-hmm. You're undefeated. You have not lost. Like, the opportunity should present itself. That's just.
Well, see, I mean, I don't know if I agree with you there, Mike. I mean, you go back, and again, I take a lot of things back to when we were in the Navy, and while we were in the Navy, it was the time when Colt Brennan was the quarterback for Hawaii.
Yeah, over for Hawaii, yeah.
Yeah, and they had that miracle. Remember the miracle season they had when we were out there? They went something like 11-0. And the people out in Hawaii actually thought that they deserved to be in the national championship. They wind up playing in the Sugar Bowl, maybe, against Georgia, and they get absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, well, but that's what I'm saying. You know, instead of having a bowl game and having to come back next year, because a lot of these undefeated seasons for smaller schools are one-offs. You're not going to get to run it back. This isn't Alabama, you know, this isn't Georgia, Auburn, where you just Texas, Oklahoma, where you have just, you know, this line of talent, you know, a team like Hawaii, a team like Boise State, UCF, Cincinnati.
See, now Boise gave it a run of a couple of years though when they were there. They did it a couple of years in a row.
I mean, they never got a chance, you know, and that's why.
And they did beat Oklahoma in that great Fiesta Bowl.
That was the Statue of Liberty play.
Yep.
Oh,
Hook and ladder and then the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah. So I think that's where the playoff comes into conversation. It's like, dude, give them a shot. You know, you go in as the 8 seed, and then you got to play Georgia, Auburn, LSU.
And you're gonna probably get your teeth kicked in, and
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the expansion to 8 teams would at least give an underdog a chance. I mean, it's tough to say at the beginning of the season if you're a Boise State, like, you know, we were just down. You said Cincinnati. Hey, listen, we win all of our games, and you know we still won't have a chance to be the champion. You know, we win every game that we play, but we're not going to be the champion regardless. Give them a shot.
I mean, I think it's in the spirit of competition. That's okay. I think that like 2 things are going to happen with this. You know, we have this realignment. Either we're going to have to break it down into smaller conferences, you know, the 8 divisions, you know, something like that. Or maybe we just have college football, the league, right?
Yeah.
And it's you know, you're depending on, you know, where you're located at or your previous season success, you know, you make it into like the Division 1, Division A or something like that. And then like the top, you know, it's kind of like the Eastern and Western conferences in hockey or basketball. The top 8 teams make it in, you go into your playoffs, stuff like that.
I see what you're doing. It's just it's so there's so many teams that it just becomes a nightmare logistically of how to make it work. But I mean, what's happening now, I don't think is working. And I mean, just teams hopping around and, you know, just trying to fill the footsteps of a Texas and Oklahoma. It's not going to happen. And, you know, unless they're able to pry like a Penn State or something out of the Big Ten, or, you know, get something from, you know, the Pac-12 and, you know, get somebody from out there. But it's not going to happen.
I agree, man.
You're not going to fill those voids.
I mean, let's be honest. You know, there's probably like 5 teams that are good enough to compete for the national championship. And even then, I mean, it's Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Oklahoma, maybe Georgia, Auburn, Notre Dame, Florida's in there. But I mean, after that, you're kind of reaching, right?
You're looking at your one-offs.
Yeah.
Looking at your one-offs and your teams that have flash in the pan seasons. Florida State, you know, they had their runs in there.
I mean, is Miami going to come back ever? USC, you know, these big, you know, big schools that, you know, have typically like strong recruiting classes. I don't know. I mean, is anybody really going to knock off? Yeah, you basically just have to wait for Nick Saban to retire. And even then, I mean, they've been so dominant for so long.
They really have.
You know, even with realignment, even if Alabama football should just go independent and they just get to play whoever they want. Yeah, they just pick their schedule. And even if, you know, they got to play like Georgia, Florida, Auburn, Oklahoma, A&M, and like USC all in the same season, I'm still betting on Alabama, you know? And what does that do for recruiting?
What I'd love to see stop is like the Alabama, and I know they have to do it for reasons for the small schools or whatever, but, you know, seeing Alabama play whatever, West Lafayette State University, you know, it's what's the point of it? I get it. I get it's to give the small schools some money, but let's stop those games. All right, let's get.
I mean,
You know what I
you
mean?
can't. We can't punish Alabama for winning all the time, right? We can't. Like
No, you can't.
they kind of deserve those games against, South Central, Louisiana State, West, whatever it is. Like, dude, go get your game where you're gonna win by 50. Fine, just go ahead and have it, because next week they're gonna have to come back and play Florida. They're gonna have to come back and play A&M, and those are really big games. And I mean, it's a bigger game for Alabama than it is for Georgia Auburn, because they've been winning for so long. And if they lose, it's more, if Alabama loses a game, it's like, that's the headline. It's not, oh man, Georgia won or Auburn won. It's Alabama lost. And that's, it's like the Patriots, man, the past 2 decades, when the Patriots lose, it's like, did Belichick get out coached? Is it time to get rid of Bill? The players listening. It's like, dude, this is hard. Yeah. This is very hard to continue to win at the highest level. So if they need a gimme game, so to speak, I think they've earned a couple. Let's give it to them. They'll come back and have to play Auburn, and that's going to get all. It's a primetime game. They could probably put Alabama and Auburn on like Sunday at noon, and more people would watch that than some of the NFL games that are coming up. I mean,
it's true. So. I mean, there is more rumors though with the Big 12, and it's saying here that it's Kansas and Iowa State would leave following Oklahoma and Texas, and they would join the Big 10. It looks like. So yeah, it basically looks like the Big 12 is going to be going bye-bye.
Well, Iowa State, they've been doing. They did really well last year. They got what's his name, Matt Campbell over there leading the.
And you have a natural rivalry right in the conference with Iowa.
Yeah, so that'd be good.
Yep. Yeah, no, I think that would be kind of cool for the Big 10, but again, I think it would be a complete failure by the Big 12. They just completely fall apart.
So go ahead. Sorry.
No, like I said, I don't know what they could add to make that conference any good.
I think when you have one team or two teams supporting your conference like that, right? It's kind of like when you have a team and you only have like one star player, right? Mm-hmm. You need to consider the fact that you don't have a team. You don't have a conference. You have two good teams who are generating all the revenue, all the TV deals, all stuff like that, all the money. And there's no backup plan here, right? Yeah. I mean, if Auburn and Georgia decide to leave the SEC, I mean, you still got Alabama and Florida in there, A&M. I mean, the SEC is still going to be strong. In the ACC, if Clemson leaves, what are you going to do? If Virginia Tech and Clemson
there's teams there. It's just it's your big draw schools. I mean, yes, the ACC still has Virginia Tech, Boston College, North Carolina. They've got schools there, but it's not your big powerhouse names. The big money grabs.
Duke and North Carolina definitely support the ACC in basketball.
ACC, sure, right? Sure.
Stuff like that. So my mistake. I was just speaking strictly football there, but yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah. I think in the SEC, I mean, there are basketball schools, but let's be honest, it's a football conference.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that's where the money is, and everybody knows that's where the money is.
Yeah. So this will be interesting, man. I mean, this realignment, because this is going to have consequences. This is going to have big ripple effects on other conferences and other schools. And so I think, by like 2030, we're probably going to see more playoff expansion. And we're going to see the the Big 12 dissolve into nothing, potentially.
Thin air.
Yeah, thin air. I mean, I don't know if you keep conferences around or you do like you said, the 8 smaller conferences, division winners, you start your playoff that way. That might be the best way to do it. And you can still have your bowl games and everybody, you can still have the
They
Sugar
heard it
Bowl
here first, Mikey. We're going to get credit when they do it.
It's a good idea. I mean, it can work, right? I mean, everybody, because for some reason, we're still latching on to college football has this attachment to tradition and history and, and whatnot. And I'm just, whatever, man. It's times change, okay? And you can still have your, people get stuck in this tradition and everything. It's like turkey on Thanksgiving. Turkey sucks. Why do we still eat turkey on Thanksgiving? Turkey's horrible. It's dry. Nobody likes it. That's why you take cranberry sauce and you have to put cranberry on it. And
love turkey.
Why don't we just have pizza or steak on Thanksgiving? Like, let's have something we enjoy. If it's about eating, that's what we do here in America. We eat. Get the French fries, get the burgers, fire up the barbecue. Turkey sucks. You heard, like, nobody likes turkey. Like, you can fry a turkey, you can dress it up and stuff like that, but like, you can just go get steak and chicken or, beef, ribs, whatever it is, and enjoy oxtail. You can enjoy Thanksgiving. It doesn't have to be turkey, but we've always had turkey.
Gotta be turkey.
Turkey's
Absolutely
horrible.
Has to be turkey.
It's a bad idea. It's bad for everybody. Come on.
No.
It makes you tired and sleepy.
The best part is the nap.
Actually, I will agree. I am a fan of naps. I am a nap advocate. That will be my protest one day. I'm going to protest for naps. That's what I'm fighting for.
Oh yeah. Give me a nap. Give me a nap any day of the week. Speaking of naps, Mikey, that's kind of what the baseball season has been. It's a giant nap. But the last week, I got to say, with the trade deadline, it was awesome. I believe, sorry, I'm trying to figure out what I did here. I believe there were 8 trades that involved All-Stars. With the Dodgers landing Max Scherzer, huge pickup for them. The Yankees going out and getting Rizzo and Gallo, 2 big bats for their lineup. Even the White Sox getting a big closer with Craig Kimbrell. People are moving all over the place. It was so much yesterday. I hadn't been that glued to sports radio for baseball in a long, long time. And of all the teams, my Red Sox kind of did nothing. They added a decent bat that goes to a position that they didn't need.
Yeah.
So I ask you, as a GM, you put on your GM hat right now. Red Sox have been probably the best team in baseball wire to wire. Right now, I want to say they have the 3rd best record, right? They have a decent farm system. They have a new general manager that his goal is to build up the farm system. They're right around the top team in baseball.
Okay.
There were players to be had at positions of need for the Red Sox. But their GM decided, or whatever, the president of baseball operations, Chaim Bloom, decided he's going to make some smaller moves, hold on to his younger players, and see how it plays out. Part of me says that, you know what, I'm happy that you're not, selling the farm to win now. Part of me saying, you're right now, you're the 3rd best team in baseball. Why not you go throw all your chips on the table and go for the championship? Word is that a lot of the other teams are making big moves because they thought the Red Sox could be had, and they thought that the Red Sox are kind of playing, over their potential. The Yankees, I want to say, are about 7 or 8 games back. And there's people that think that the Yankees think they can catch the Red Sox, which is why they made the moves that they made. Same thing with the Blue Jays adding, I believe they added a significant bat and a pitcher. And the Red Sox, however, they do have Chris Sale, who is the ace of their staff, coming back from the disabled list from Tommy John surgery. He's been out about a year and a half. I don't love the whole thing of, well, we're getting one of the best pitchers in baseball back, and that's kind of our trade acquisition. Well, no, you're kind of you could have done more and had Seal back because we don't know what he could be. So I don't know if you agree, but I guess there's an argument that can be made both ways. You know, hold on to your core to win in the future, but also trade some of that now, make your team better now, and give this thing a solid run now.
Well, it's tough because there's a balancing act there, and you just touched on it, because you always want to win now. I don't know any team, any player, any baseball manager that doesn't want to win. Even if you're the Orioles, or one of these teams, like, you're still going out there to win. Even if it's the last game of the year, you didn't make it, you're still you're a professional athlete. This is what you do. And so as a GM, you want to have a team on the field in any sport, baseball, hockey, basketball, football, whatever it is.
Yeah.
The four major ones are pretty much the ones that cover. But I mean, you always want to have a team on there that can potentially win, that should win. So yeah, they're getting Sale back here, coming back from injury. You don't know what he's capable of.
Now, I'm going to give him that the reports are all positive on Sale. Everything that they've been saying, he's had some minor league stints, he's had some minor league work, and everything seems good. The velocity is there. And when Sale is right, he's arguably the best pitcher in baseball. I will give him that. I'm not his biggest fan, but I will give him that he's probably one of the best pitchers in baseball when he's right. So, coming off of Tommy John, is it really something that you can, count on for a playoff run? I wish that they've gone after something a little bit more solid. And like I said, there was a lot, obviously, with the flurry of moves that happened yesterday, there were players available that they could have got. However, the asking prices were high.
Yeah,
I like what the Yankees did. I like the fact that the Yankees were aggressive and they said, you know what? There's 2 wild card spots. We're going to go after. We're going to go hard. We're going to get 2 solid players, and we're going to see what we can do with this and see if we can give it a run, because they have a decent pitching staff that hasn't performed well. I love what the Dodgers did. They've been in the driver's seat.
The Dodgers did too, yeah.
They won the World Series last year. They were right there with the Giants. It's been them, the Giants, and the Padres this year. Yeah. And they go out and they make a very, very solid move, being very aggressive. I like the aggressive approach. I do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of mortgaging the future to win the present. I think that you always, the thing is, you don't want to be consistently building for the future, because then you never put a winning team on the field. And that's the reason why I think Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia need to just never be involved in football ever again. But that's okay.
We'll talk about Matt Patricia in our next segment.
I apologize for bringing that up.
He's on my list.
Okay. Well, anyway, so yeah, I mean, the Red Sox are having a pretty good year here, man. I mean, they're at the top of the AL East, right? Yep. And I don't know when you're.
Are they? I believe they're still ahead of Tampa Bay. I want to say they got Tampa Bay by a half game or so.
Yeah,
they lost to Tampa yesterday. Their starting pitching has just been terrible since June, and that's why I wanted to see them add an arm. I mean, their starting pitching has been awful.
I mean, you're getting a guy back you're getting potentially, when he's on, you're getting the best pitcher in the game back from Tommy John surgery. Now, this isn't the first Tommy John surgery that's ever been performed. Okay, so he's coming back he's probably going to come back. He's probably going to be effective. All right, this is a new thing, new surgery or anything like that. If everything, if he's already doing work and everything is positive, I would put stock in that. I would buy that stock, so to speak. So
I mean, they're saying out the gate, the most you're going to get out of him for his first few starts anyway is 4 innings.
I mean, but that's good. I mean, you want him to come back before the season is over. Boston's probably in the postseason. and just that's I don't yeah, man. So I think you kind of ride that. Now I'll say this, depending on how they do in the playoffs this year,
Mm.
then next year you go, okay, look, we're a bat away, we're a pitcher away. You go make a deal like the Dodgers did for Scherzer,
Mm-hmm.
and you quote unquote mortgage the future for that. I mean, I don't want to say mortgage the future. But I mean, you give up, right? Maybe you give up. I don't know what you give up, but
You give up the unproven. I always look at them as the unproven. Regardless of what the potential is, I always call them the unproven.
But I mean,
I'm always willing to give up the unproven for the proven if it's going to make my team better.
You have a known quantity and you have a unknown quantity. Now the unknown quantity is potential and this is talent. Let's go get that talent, add it to our roster, add it to our lineup, and let's win another champion. That's what this is about. This isn't about making the playoffs and winning the division. This is about winning the whole thing for every team. That's what the mentality is. But you don't just do that. You have to.
Yeah, no, there's got to be strategy to it, and which is why, like I said, part of me says, you know what, maybe because the asking prices were so high, because there were so many moves made yesterday, in a very eventful trade deadline. Part of me says, maybe he played it right, but again, the other part of me says I wish he was a little bit more aggressive. I wish he could have done something a little bit more. He did get a pitcher from Minnesota. The guy's got like almost a 6 ERA. He gave up a grand slam, a walk-off grand slam in his last outing or something like that.
Not the best.
No, not the best resume.
Yeah.
But there's still the waiver wire deals, and they might be able to pull in something through the waiver wire through August. So we'll see. It definitely is lining up to be a pretty good stretch run for baseball. And it's been a while since, me personally, I've said that I've had, very little interest in baseball the last few years. And I've got to say, I feel like the product is getting a little bit better. And Mike, this might be a good pennant race to watch through September.
I think so, man. I mean,
there's some good battles there. San Diego and Los Angeles is going to be a great race. I love the fact that Milwaukee's doing well in the Central. The Mets added some pieces the other day for the East race. The AL West. I mean, everybody wants to see Shohei up there, but unfortunately, the Angels just haven't built around him. In the Central, the White Sox are playing great.
Yeah.
It really, and then the AL East has been fun all year with the Blue Jays, Red Sox, Rays, and Yankees. It's been a great race.
Yeah, I mean, Ohtani's the biggest story in or has been the biggest story in baseball. But when you're on a team that's at the bottom of the division or close to it, it's kind of disappointing. You want to see a guy like that on the Red Sox, or on a team that's at the top there, the Giants, somebody.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying about this particular season is they've been able to, even though Shohei's, the main guy, the product has gotten better. I will say there's been a lot of base running blunders that I've seen this year that have been pretty bad. But the product is actually very interesting. It's moving along. I think the games are moving at a better pace than they have in the past. And like I said, this could be a very interesting stretch run, and might be worth watching a little bit of it, Mike.
I mean, any healthy competition like that is always fun to watch, regardless of the sport. I know that a lot of people say they can't sit down to watch baseball, but I mean, when it's tight like this and it's close like this, every pitch matters, every movement matters, every swing of the bat matters. I mean, it all has playoff implications. And I think that, when you get your mind around that, it's exciting. It's fun to watch. And yeah, man, I mean, I guess I'll be pulling for your Red Sox, man, because I don't think the Tigers are going to, overtake there in the AL Central and everything. So,
well, it's like I said, I mean, it's between the Red Sox and the Rays we're playing this weekend, and the Yankees and Blue Jays are kind of hanging around there. It's going to be interesting.
I mean, the Yankees, I don't know if, I mean, I know Tampa Bay doesn't get talked about a lot. They're kind of a small market team.
Yeah.
They're right there with the Red Sox. I mean, they might,
They're feeding off of that Tampa Bay buzz right now, man.
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay, baby.
They got
Tampa Bay.
The Lightning just won it. The Bucks had a home game at the Super Bowl. I mean, come on. And, the Rays might, maybe. I mean, they're probably good in the playoffs.
I will say, now this is my Boston bias. Can we pump the brakes a little bit with the City of Champions for Tampa Bay? Listen, they got 3 in like the last 15 years. All right, let's pump the brakes a little bit. I think Boston. What are we going after? Like our 13th or 14th? All right, let's pump the brakes a little bit. The Sox got 4. The Patriots got 6. Yeah, so we got 12 because the Bruins and Celtics each got 1. So let's pump the brakes on calling Tampa Bay the City of Champions just a little bit. All right.
All I'm saying, look, man, everybody moves south.
Bring a couple more. Let Tommy Boy get a couple more Lombardis, and then they can start talking about that. Okay.
He may very well do such a thing. But no, I think the baseball, the playoff race it's interesting as of right now. If anything, if you can't watch the games, at least follow the scores and the standings updates.
Yeah, no, I've been doing a lot of that. I'll give a shout out to my dad who's been going crazy about me not talking baseball because he's watched these. And he goes, you got to talk about the stretch run. It's going to be a great stretch run. So, Dad, there he is. I gave you some baseball talk.
We gave you your 10 minutes of the game that has over 100 games every year.
Yeah.
That is the reason they don't matter. Anyway, look, baseball is a good game, man. It's just, when the season starts, it's like, okay, well, we'll wait till after the All-Star break to start,
really investing it.
It's not like the difference between going, 10-7 and 9-8 is all on the line here in a play. You know what I mean? You still got 80 games left, and we'll see. So
yeah. Well, we got a little bit more time, Mike. We got maybe about 15 minutes or so, Mike. NFL training camp, baby.
Okay.
Where's the shirt, Mikey? Where's the shirt? First of all, where's the shirt?
Here. It's right here, baby. All right, my Detroit Lions. I will say this: Motor City Dan Campbell. All right, he has 4. I'll hold up my good hand. 4 rules that he wants the team to abide by. Number 1, and Joey, we can relate to this: be on time.
That's it.
Remember, on time is late. Early is on time.
And if you're late, stand by.
Yeah, if you're late, sweepers. Number 2, keep your weight in check.
Yeah.
All right, you're a football player. You're probably expected to physically perform.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, don't disrespect your teammates, which I can get behind. Your team.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
A team. All right. I mean, there's probably some hazing going on in there, some trash talk, all that stuff. But,
I just want to be clear that Dan Campbell's the one that was the head coach in Miami for a short period.
Yes.
He looks like PC Principal from South Park.
Yes.
Okay.
And number 4 is do not disrespect this game. 4 rules. I like them. They're not anything crazy. It's not, send an email every Friday with a productivity update or anything like that. I don't think any coach has stuff like that. But 4 rules, I think you can kind of, implement those into your normal life as well, stuff like that. But anyway, that's my Detroit sports update for our thus far.
Well, listen, Mike, I got a few storylines here, and I'm gonna let you pick which one we're gonna talk about first. All right.
All right.
1 second. I clicked off of it. Now I got to find it again. Well, we got Tim Tebow in Jacksonville.
No, we're not talking about that.
We're not talking about Tim Tebow in Jackson.
We've what we've just said is enough talk about Tim Tebow. That's
fair enough.
There we go.
All right, Aaron Rodgers. What do we think about Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, I will say this: the Aaron Rodgers press conference. You can catch it on YouTube. It's about 30 minutes long.
Yep.
I think what he said was valid.
Yep.
Not everybody is Aaron Rodgers. Not everybody is the top three quarterback in the league. I think it's Mahomes, Rodgers, and then you can probably put maybe Brady. Probably put Brady in there. He's still getting it done. Wilson, somebody you fill the third spot, but it's pretty much Mahomes, Rodgers, and then maybe like Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen's probably like top 5. Anyway.
Yeah.
And so for him to not be consulted by management about like, hey, we're gonna get rid of Jordy Nelson, hey, we're gonna get rid of Randall Cobb, we're gonna get rid of these guys on the offensive line. For him to not be like just aware of those decisions, dude, we saw what the Green Bay Packers were. I don't want the Packers to
win.
You're
a Lions guy. I get it.
I know. I get it, man. Let's just be honest. It's the Packers division. It just is. Well,
as long as Rodgers is there.
There you go. Right. And so, how are you not saying like, hey, Aaron, we're thinking about getting rid of Jordy Nelson, right? And while Jordy Nelson was there, he was having, great production. And then you take away a target like that. Don't you think you want to tell your quarterback, like, what do you think? Are you comfortable with him? Do you, would you be able to talk to him about taking less money so we could fit him in under the cap? Something like that. And they're just like, nah, we're going to send him to what was then Oakland. And I'd be upset. You're taking away my favorite target to throw the ball to. Same thing with Randall Cobb.
They don't go and replace him either. And no.
Yeah, and you got Devontae Adams over there, and he's a stud receiver. But could they have done better last year when he had an MVP year, right? Could they have done better years before that? He's been there 16 years, going on 17, right?
Yeah.
Sat behind Favre for a few years there, which I think was good. I don't think that hurt his development at all or anything like that.
How much of an impact do you think this whole thing's going to have on his actual game?
Probably none. He still loves football. He's still, top 3 quarterback in the league. He still wants to win and is competitive and has a drive.
At what point, though, do we start putting him in the cat? Because he has won one, so we have to give him that. But at what point do we have to say he's a good, really, really good to great regular season quarterback and not a playoff quarterback?
He has playoff wins though.
Yeah.
I can't say he's not a postseason quarterback. I can't.
So I don't have my stats in front of me for what his stats are in losses, and I know football's a team game. I get it. But one championship in a 17-year career, when you're regarded as one of the greatest to do it, I don't know. I kind of want more out of him.
Do you want him to get to championships or win them?
I think he needs to win a couple more to be really thought of as one of the greats. Like I don't put Brett Favre in the category of one of the greats, like the greats. And I constantly get yelled, that's a team game, blah, 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 blah. I get it. But you know what? One championship is a championship, and I'll give you that. But my ultimate thing is always scoreboard, and my scoreboard is championships, and that's what I base it off of. And I get who I'm referring to as why Brady's the GOAT on that one. But
if you're going, you're going greatest quarterbacks ever, right? You got to talk about. Brady's he's our.
Well, I was going to say,
generation.
This is what I say. Like, there's a difference between the greatest winner and the greatest talent. Because Brady, talent-wise, his talent doesn't match up with others, but he's a winner. He just wins. And I'm wondering where the line is with Rodgers. Do you say he's a great quarterback, not a winner? He is a winner and a great quarterback. I don't know. And now, with this whole thing, it just seems like I do believe that this might affect his play.
Well, okay, so I'll say this. In order for consistency, well, not just for consistency, but I opened this up with the Simone Biles thing, and somebody, people calling her a quitter. I say she's not, because there is no history of quitting.
Yeah.
She does not quit. This was a different thing, and that was the right call for her to remove herself. Mm-hmm. She's not a quitter. Aaron Rodgers has a history of winning. I would call him a winner. Mm-hmm. All right. Regardless of his personality and his attitude and stuff like that, put all that aside, what are the end results there on the field? He does his job. He does his job well. He is a winner. The whole greatest quarterbacks of all time, I don't know if I'm putting him in there. Right situation.
It's a list for another day. We'll
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with what he said, and I think that sometimes management needs to be called out. This isn't the backup right tackle saying it. This is your star player. This is the guy who just won the MVP. This is the person that without him, you have no chance of winning in the playoffs, let alone making the playoffs.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Getting into the conversation about, do I need to see another championship out of Rodgers? I don't need to see it personally. I'd like to see somebody else, but I think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback already.
Well, let me read you this quote that came out of it. This was something Aaron Rodgers said, and I kind of want to know what you think he's getting at here, and it's pretty straightforward, I guess. I felt like if you can't commit to me past 2021 and I'm not part of your recruiting process in free agency, if I'm not part of the future, then instead of letting me be a lame duck quarterback, if you want to make a change and move forward, then go ahead and do it, is what he told reporters. I mean, basically, he's saying, get rid of me.
Yeah, and I mean, that's...
If I'm not your guy, fine, get your guy and get rid of me.
I mean, how many years does Rodgers have left?
I mean, in this NFL, who knows? I mean, he's 37, 38.
Yeah, Rodgers is a guy. He's got a bit of an injury history there, right? Had the broken collarbone, right? And so, how many years does this guy have left? Maybe 2, 3, potentially. He's not looking to rebuild. He's not looking to start this thing over and new coaches and stuff like that. He's looking to go get a Lombardi trophy, right? He's not. And he was looking for that last year too. And I mean, this guy he's not Joe Burrow just coming into the league and all that. He's, this is his time. He might not get it this year, might not get it next, right? He wants to win. The goal for him isn't wanting to win. The goal for him is winning a championship. And I mean, you're going to have to go through teams like, Tampa Bay to do that.
Yep.
And you have to be prepared right now. And
I mean, with that interview, granted, I agree with some of the stuff that he said, but it seems like, the whole head not in it, head not right thing, it could be a factor.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I will say, dude, your mind is your most valuable asset. I will say that. In professional sports, we've heard athletes in the past talk about how it's not the body that they don't have ready. It's the mind. Yeah. Boxers talk about that. I think there's an interview with, it wasn't Floyd Mayweather. It was, I want to say it was Sugar, but I'd have to find it, where he talks about how like it was up here. That was, that you're getting beat. Mike Tyson talks about that, going into the ring and already believing that he's just I'm gonna knock this dude out with like a body punch. And so,
but see, this to me isn't his mentality of he has any self-doubt of his talents. It's just, it seems like he has self-doubt in the team.
I would say it's the front office. He has problems with the guys, the players on the field, the coach. I think he's okay with the coaches.
The guys he's playing with have to feed off of that too. He doesn't think that I'm good enough to be his receiver. I mean, there's got to be something to that, and I could see it being a cancer for the locker room.
I didn't think about that. I got to admit, I didn't think about how like the number 2 receiver on the Green Bay Packers could be like, dude, you don't want me here, or dude, you don't
Yeah.
trust me or believe in me.
And he went. He made that very public.
Yeah. So potentially that's there. We'll see. I guess we haven't heard from those guys, not yet. I mean, I haven't looked at any other like press releases or anything like that. That press conference was pretty well received by everybody. I mean,
he definitely got a lot off his chest.
Yeah. So actually, I mean, I respect him for what he said. I don't think he said anything out of bounds. I think that when you're frustrated with management and you are a player of the magnitude that Aaron Rodgers is, you can do something like that publicly.
He's earned it, I guess. Yeah.
I think so. I don't want to see this after every game. He's like, well, the GM needs a draft or something like. It's like, okay, dude, we get it, but
you're not happy. Yeah.
Yeah. If you need to come out and air your grievances and everything like that and get everybody talking, get it off your chest, man. Better out than in. Bothering you, get it out. Just get it out. And if anything, maybe this, I can see it going both ways. I can see it being a problem for some guys in the locker room, and I can see other people being motivated by it.
Yep.
They got Randall Cobb back. He's come back to Green Bay. They seem pretty happy about that, or at least Randall. I think he had a post on Twitter saying he's coming home. Right, and I will say that when Randall Cobb was in Green Bay, he was
his best years.
Yeah,
very
good. His best years. So I would expect that his previous seasons, I think he was with Dallas for a little bit there as well, and wasn't. Yeah, and it's Aaron Rodgers, man. He's going to be productive again in that offense, and I'm going to, not be happy when they play Detroit twice.
You'll be rooting hard against him.
I will be rooting. I hope Aaron Rodgers, has a great year. I hope he's healthy and everything like that, except for when he's in Detroit. That's, how it goes. You just, on that Sunday, you're probably not really, when the Patriots and Dolphins play each other, you're probably not rooting for Tua that day, So.
Not rooting for Tua any day, but yeah. All right, Mike, we have time for one more. I'll give you the choice. What do we want to talk about? We want to talk about the New Orleans Saints and what's going on over there as far as, we got Thomas having his surgery and Peyton's not happy about the timing of it. Or we can talk about my Patriots and their quarterback situation. Which one you want to go with?
So I want to slide. Give me 2 minutes here to slide something in.
What's that?
Carson Wentz and his injury.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yep.
Carson Wentz is hurt again. They're saying it's a foot injury.
How bad?
From what I saw, he's out indefinitely.
Oh, no.
And I just think that this is like surprise type of deal. Like, he had one great year. Apparently that, he's like a generational talent. He is.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta, like, is he injury prone at this point? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah. So it's saying, where do the Colts go from here if QB misses start of season? Yeah, he's going to see a specialist. Might need surgery. Yeah, that's not good. Did they bring back Brissett or no?
No, I think they have somebody named Eason. I want to say Jacob Eason as their backup.
Oh, they got him from, I believe, Washington.
Something like that, yeah. But
they drafted him out of Washington.
Yeah, so you put all your eggs into the proverbial Carson Wentz basket.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody with injury history, and it was talked about, before Matt Stafford got traded to the Rams, that Indianapolis was in the running. So, I mean, this is kind of, I'm not going to say it's expected, but it's just kind of like, really? Like, still, man,
I've said it to you before, but I mean, I like Frank Reich as a coach, and I really, if they have to go with a rookie, then unproven rookie. If there's any coach that I think could work well with them, it's Reich. I think he's an awesome coach, and I think he does well with his quarterbacks. I want to say he had he was with Philadelphia. He was their quarterbacks coach and offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I could be wrong on that one.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So let's
go Patriots, man. Come on. You got the jerseys up.
Got him, baby.
All
right. So we'll finish off with my Patriots. Lot of talk on who the heck's going to get the starting job. It's been good days and bad days for both of them. Stidham is now probably going to miss a good portion of the season. He just had back surgery. So now that leaves them with just 2 right now. I believe they picked up another quarterback for depth, and then they have Hoyer as their practice guy. And obviously it's going to be between Newton and Jones. A lot of people are very impressed with what they've seen from Mac Jones, quarterback from Alabama. Okay. I think a lot of it is just hype. I hope the kid's good. And then Cam Newton has had a decent, I guess would be a word, the word, start. I believe they said yesterday in 11 and 11s, he went 12 of 20. He's not having consistency in his passes. They're saying Mac Jones is throwing the better deep ball. He's had fumble issues so far in training camp.
That's not. That won't get you far with Belichick, I'll tell you.
No, he hasn't. So Belichick's thing is the number 1 pick wears the jersey number 50 in training camp until they earn a better number, I believe is what it is. And he's still wearing that 50, so he has not earned an actual number yet.
Well, look, let's be honest, man. If you're going to get in Belichick's good graces, it ain't happening anytime. It's not happening overnight.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just – Belichick is arguably the greatest coach of all time, right? And if he wants to give you 50, you're going to wear 50.
So I think that there's a lot being put into this battle, and I don't think it matters that much, to be honest with you, Mike.
You don't think that the quarterback battle
on this particular team, I'm going to say I don't believe the quarterback is going to be that big of a deal.
You have the floor. Please.
Me and you have had many conversations in the past, and I've told you that I think the running back is just kind of a overrated position, and they're going to get you so far, and then eventually somebody's going to stop them. I'm throwing all that to the wind and saying I think this is going to be a very running back heavy team. I think he's got a bunch of backs that he's going to use. He's got Michelle, and then the kid that they started last year after I missed the first.
Is James White still there? Or?
James White's still there. They drafted the kid from Oklahoma, and then Richardson. Is it Richardson? I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. The kid that carried the ball for them last year out of Alabama. So they got 4 solid backs, and then they got the 2 tight ends that they got. They got
I know they got Hunter Henry
and Smith from Tennessee. Is that the one? Janu Smith? Or is that the linebacker?
You should know your team better than I do.
I know. I'm drawing blanks right now. So they got the 2 big tight ends, the one from Tennessee, and then like you said, Hunter Henry. So I definitely am seeing a pound, 3-yard dump offs to tight end type offense. Very slow, very methodical. Nelson Aguilar, I guess, is having a good camp. Kendrick Bourne is having a good camp, and I guess they're both doing well with Mac Jones. I don't see Belichick starting a rookie quarterback. I think Cam's going to get it. But I could envision a Patriots game where Cam Newton wins with seven total passes. I really could.
You think they're all going to be screen passes or what?
No, I mean, I could see them, 3rd and 5, just run the ball up the middle,
Yeah, Joe, it's not the way the league is, man. You're not winning games by this isn't the ground and pound. Like, this is the NFL now. It's down the field. You have to be able to push the ball. When has Bill Belichick followed what the league is? Never. He hasn't. I'll give you that. That's totally fine. I just
when everybody was
the
going to
league,
running quarterbacks, he drafted Tom Brady. When everybody was going to athletic quarterbacks, Drew Brees types, Michael Vick types, he drafted Tom Brady. When everybody thought the league was going to be running quarterbacks, he had Tom Brady. When everybody wanted deep threat wide receivers, he had Troy Brown.
Okay. All right. That's fair. It's fair, right?
When the league started going running back heavy, he wanted tight ends. He had Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez. So he's kind of always been an against the grain kind of guy. So, we could see, I believe we're going to see a very, very, very heavy run offense. And it's going to be a very boring run offense. I could see like 3-yard gains, 4-yard gains, stuff like that.
You got to pass. Somebody's got to throw the ball. Somebody, right? Cam Newton is not consistently accurate, right?
So let me say this. The argument against Cam is that he threw 8 touchdowns last year. But in his defense, and there's not a lot to defend because it was a bad year. I believe he had like 8 touchdowns with, I'm going to say 10, 12 interceptions. I don't know off the top of my head. He did rush for 12 more touchdowns. So he accounted for 20 touchdowns, which I know against a lot of your better quarterbacks isn't good, but it's also not horrible. So if they can get Cam to keep running the ball to go along with their running offense, I think they'll be okay. I want to see Mac Jones start on the bench. I do. I want to see him have a redshirt year. I wish there was a different quarterback he was learning from. I will say that. I wish he was behind a quarterback that was more the type of quarterback that he is.
I mean, you're not. Yeah. You're not going to find. There aren't too many Cam Newtons.
Well, you're talking Cam Newton, who's an athletic, fast quarterback, and Mac Jones, who is not athletic, not fast, and very much a pocket quarterback, which Cam Newton is not. We saw last year Cam Newton cannot throw from the pocket.
He can't do it consistently. I'll say this. You have a point in saying that Belichick doesn't go with the flow of the league.
No, he's not a trendy.
He goes against the current. Exactly.
He's not a trendy guy.
He sets the trend.
Yeah.
Right. You remember, when they had Gronk and Hernandez up there, even like Martellus Bennett for a little bit. Mm-hmm. Then the tight end position became like this, like, we gotta have tight end. Yeah.
Yeah. George Kittle come out. You had Travis Kelce come out. And everybody started building.
Pretty big deal. Yeah.
Everybody started building around the tight end.
You got to have a tight end that can catch the ball now, and like you got these tight ends coming out of college now that can, they can run routes, and they're not just like blockers anymore.
Well, they used to be kind of one or the other. It was very rare to find the guys that did both, like a Gronkowski who could do both.
Yeah. So I'll give you that, and I'll buy, I'll put stock into that. I totally will, because it's valid. And I'll say last year for the Patriots, it was the down year. Brady left. What are we going to do type of year, right? Mm-hmm. Still went 7-9, right? You're not you're not the Lions. You know what I mean? And that's totally fair. So, I mean, and you were dang close to going 8-8, 9-7, some of those games. I mean, you're talking, a couple plays go your way. It's a different game.
We've had this conversation, and I've said that's a losing team mentality of you. And we could have been this, we could have been. Well, like, and again, as a Patriots,
that's what I tell myself.
I'm telling you, as a Patriots fan, Patriots could very well have no Super Bowls if you look at it that way. I mean, they very easily could have lost the first one to the Rams. They very easily could have lost that one to the Panthers. They very easily could have. I guess the Eagles one was they did win. But then the one against the Seahawks, if he just hands the ball to Lynch, the Seahawks win. If the Falcons don't puke all over themselves, they should win. Yeah. And then I guess the second one against the Rams just decided not to show up, and their offense decided to stay home. So again, if we're gonna do they could have done this. Well, they could have also lost 4 Super Bowls. So
fair. Mm-hmm. All right, so I will believe it when I see it then.
Yeah.
About we're gonna win games by running the ball. I will say that defenses now are more geared up to stop the pass than they are to stop the run.
Well, yeah, that's the big thing is everybody wants the cornerbacks now. Everybody's going after cornerbacks. You know, and I think cornerbacks are better than they've been in a long time. There's a better batch of them than there's ever been.
To defend the pass, not necessarily to defend the run. There are corners out there.
Well, what I'm saying is piggybacking off of you saying teams are loading up to stop the pass. They're loading up to stop players like Patrick Mahomes. They're loading up to stop high-powered offenses.
Yeah. So I will definitely.
Damian Harris, by the way. Damian Harris was the Patriots' other running back who was driving me crazy.
Okay. Cool. Great. You're right. But you're right. I mean, running backs last, 3-4 years, maybe. We're not looking at, is Frank Gore playing this year? I mean, I don't know. The ageless wonder. We don't really have
I don't know if
too
he's
many.
Signed.
Yeah, I think we don't really have running backs that are, been in the league 12 years.
Well, that's what Belichick does. Is he doesn't rely on one guy. I mean, one guy could go out and run for 150 yards one week, and then the next week he doesn't even touch the ball.
And that's just matchups. Belichick definitely does that. He plays the matchups, And
he's got, like I said, he's got four solid running backs on his depth chart right now. And
they probably all do different things well. I guarantee you that. One guy catches screen pass, one guy blocks on third down well, one guy runs it up the gut well, one guy's your home run hitter.
Yeah, no, they got James White, that's the catching back. They got Sony Michel, which is your shifty back. They got Damian Harris, which is the bulldozer, and then the kid that they just drafted out of Oklahoma is another one.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, man. Yeah. I mean, I'm not ready to say that because of the other 31 teams in the league who are trying to gear up to pass the ball, move the ball, push the ball down the field. Even the Titans with Derrick Henry, right? They just went out and got Julio Jones.
Yeah.
Right. And so, there is this emphasis on passing the ball. And maybe I think there is some validity to your point of going against the grain like that, gearing up with the tight ends, gearing up with the running backs, not having the stud QB who can push the ball down the field from the pocket. You got Nelson Aguilar. I mean, who's your number one? The Patriots haven't had that number one outside wide receiver since Randy Moss, right?
No.
I mean, the stereotypical number one outside guy.
The big guy, yeah.
Yeah, and they've been successful.
They had Brandon Cooks for that year, but he really didn't live up to the billing.
And so yeah, I mean, maybe, man. I mean, you got Mac Jones he was graded as he was graded as not the top 3 quarterback coming out. He was like the 4th or 5th.
A lot of people thought he was going to end up in San Francisco. I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see. But either way, man, it's awesome that, football is now right there. I just looked it up, man. We got, I believe it's this week, August 5th, Thursday. We got the Hall of Fame game, and then the season's off and rolling, man. This is the last, I believe, weekend without football.
Do we do, if we can, do we do a special podcast episode, a preview of the game or something like that, or a post game type of deal or something like that, or just it's a preseason game, Yeah,
why not?
Maybe we can do something if our schedules line up or something like that.
Well, there's going to be plenty more football talk moving forward, Mike.
It's exciting, man. It's really we got football coming up.
Mm-hmm. We're right in the middle. We're going right into the pennant race. Yep.
Yeah. NBA, NHL, or there's been some, there's going to be some free agency stuff. I mean, there already is and everything. I mean, we just saw Westbrook just got traded to the Lakers.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that. Yeah, but that's another big one.
We gotta. We'll talk about that. But yeah, there's plenty. It's in there's always something happening, and so we're gonna try and cover it.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure there's stuff we missed today, and we already know there's at least one thing we missed today, which was Westbrook to the Lakers. So
yeah. And we're doing our best. We're, like I said, we're learning it as we go.
Yeah.
And we're entertaining ourselves if we're not entertaining anybody else. So.
Yeah, I tell you. Yeah, man. But I mean, we've probably hit the hour mark already, right? I mean,
so I think we're gonna wrap this one up again. Like we ask people, just give us some comments. Tell us what you want to hear. If there's anything that we're not doing as good as you want, let us know and share us out there. Let us get some views in there.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to be it for today, and we'll see you guys next week. All right.